All right, final review. Let's do this. This is Mr. Lauritsen, Semester 1 Cumulative Final Review. Look at number 1. Look for those key words in these first two expressions. Number 1 says 21 more than a number x. That word more than is always going to mean addition. So that makes it pretty easy. Number 2. For less than. Remember, less than is one that we start in your notes because it kind of makes things flip. If I want for less than something, I'm going to see a -4 somewhere. So next keyword is product. Product means multiply. So 3 and m are being multiplied. So then I'm looking for something with a -4. Product of 3m. My answer has to be D. 3 through 6, we're talking about expressions. Expressions are math statements that don't have equal signs. Our goal is just to simplify them as far as we can. Order of operations is going to be the name of the game here. So I'll put that right on top here. We're going to do anything in parentheses first. Exponents after that. Multiply and divide will be after that. And finally, we'll add, subtract if we have to. Problem 3. I'm going to zoom in there. Whoa. So, looks like I have an exponent here to deal with first. -2 cubed is the same as saying -2 times -2 times -2, which is -8. Then I add 4. -8 plus 4 is -4. Number 4. Again, order of operations is still going to apply. I'm going to take care of everything that's up in this top part first. Let's do the parenthesis first. 3 times 7 is going to be 21, and 21 minus 5 will be 16. So really I have 4 squared plus 16 all over 8. Exponents is next. So 4 squared is 16. 16 plus 16 over 8. 32 over 8, which is equal to 4. All right. Number 5. Anytime you have a number or a negative sign outside of a parenthesis, that's going to require the distributive property. So that negative is kind of like saying there's a -1 out in front. -1 times 8 is -8. -1 times x is -x. Notice what I didn't do. I didn't finish this one and say, oh, x is equal to -8. No. That's not what we're talking about here. These are expressions. They aren't equations. This is as far as I can go right here. Problem 6. Again, I see distributive property, so I'm going to do that first. 3t plus 3 minus 7t plus 2. This question is asking us to remember what it means to combine like terms. So I'm going to combine my t's together, and then I'll combine my numbers together. This is when your annoying teacher always said, pay attention to the sign in front. So when I combine the t's, I'm going to look at a positive 3t, a negative 7t. It combines to give me -4t. When I combine the numbers, I have positive 2, positive 3, positive 2. That is a positive 7. I can't combine the numbers together with the t's. So that's what I'm left with. 7 and 8 are also dealing with expressions. For these problems, a is equal to 2 and b is equal to -1. Oops. Reach the scratch mark. Okay, look at number 7, and remember that a is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 1. A is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 1. I always plug things in parentheses right away. And then order of operations still applies here. So I'm going to do exponents first. And then be very careful with these negatives here. So multiplication is next. So I'm going to multiply 2 times negative 1. I'm going to copy down everything as I see it. 4 minus negative 2. Be pencil strokes. I would get 6. Again, a is 2, and b is negative 1. A couple things to be careful of here. Exponents first. You have to do this 2 squared first. Don't multiply 3 times 2. You got to do the exponent first. The exponent over here, negative 1 cubed is saying negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1, which is just negative 1. You end with 12 plus negative 1, which is equal to 11. Then we start getting to equations. So, if you look at number 9, real quick on equations, that's when we're talking about doing the same thing to both sides. We're going to do the opposite, get x equals negative 8. You can always go back in and plug them in and see if they work. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. That works. Number 10, also looking to do the opposite. Well, what's the opposite of divide by 9? That was dumb. The opposite of divide by 9 is to multiply by 9. That cancels out. I get x equals 27. Number 11. And number 11, goal is to get x by itself again. So I got to get rid of this positive 9, so I'm going to subtract 9. 5x equals 15. Divide both sides by 5. I get x is equal to 3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 9 is 24. Yep. 12. Careful here. Goal is to get x by itself, so I need to get rid of the 4. This 4 is a positive 4. Careful, I don't want to add 4 to both sides. If I added 4 to both sides, that'd be 4 plus 4 equals 8. I don't want to do that. I want it to cancel out. So I'm going to subtract 4. And here's what happens. 2 on the left side. And this is a negative x. Pay attention to the sign in front. So a quick review on what it means to have a negative sign in front. Basically the same thing as saying negative 1 in front. So to get rid of the negative 1, I'm going to divide by negative 1. So now I have 2 divided by negative 1 is negative 2. X equals negative 2 is my answer. 13. Distributive property. I don't know what happened there. 5x. Oh my. Bad, 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 bad. Bad, bad. Redo, undo, erase. Okay, good. Okay. 5x minus 5 minus 4x equal to 10. If two x's are on the same side, I'm going to combine them together. 5x combined with negative 4x is just 1x. There's still a minus 5. It equals 10. Add 5 to both sides. And you get x is equal to 15. Difference here is you're going to have x's on different sides of the equation. We're not going to combine them. What I recommend doing is dealing with your x's first, getting them on one side of the equation. I do that by choosing the lesser one and doing the opposite. The opposite is subtracting. That eliminates my x's from one side, and I just have 5 equals 11x minus 7x are the like terms over here. So we get 4x minus 11, add 11 to both sides, and I get 4x is equal to 16, divide by 4, and I get x is equal to 4. Moving on, almost done. 15. A couple ways you can think about it. The way that I would probably recommend is remembering that when you have a fraction equal to a fraction, you can use cross products. So 3 times 5 is equal to 2 times x. Or 15 is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 7.5. Forgot to circle this answer. My bad. Lastly, 16. The weird, maybe the weird thing about this equation is the absolute value. Absolute value is the distance away from 0. Thing to remember is when you see absolute value, you're always going to get 2 answers. Well, how are you going to get 2 answers? Right away, we're going to split this into 2 equations. If remember, I taught you 4 s's. Once the absolute value is so low, you will split it into 2 equations. One for the positive, one for the negative. You'll solve both equations. These are pretty simple equations to solve. 2x equals 8. X is equal to 4. Minus 1 on this equation. 2x is equal to negative 10. X is equal to negative 5. The last s is sure, as in you can check your answer. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is equal to 9. Perfect. I check the negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Negative 10 plus 1 is negative 9. And the absolute value of negative 9 is 9. So that checks out also. And you're done with page 1.